Good morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of Something More Than Gibberish. This is episode 56, and today I will be featuring Francesca Donnelly, better known as by her Instagram handle @_Scots Gypsy Witch. Fran has been a dear friend and very supportive of this platform and actively shares her work with us on Instagram. Her work is extremely soulful, comes from the heart. There's many people on this show that write for rhyme, get their words of eloquence out. But Fran writes from the heart, from her own personal experience. I find her work so soulful and very touching. I love reading her work when I used to run open mics. Now Fran's in the room, so Fran, if you want to put in a request to come up by hitting that little plus sign on the bottom of your screen, I will bring you up on the screen and we can get this show on the road. It used to be an absolute pleasure to read Fran's work. It really is. Okay, let's bring Fran up and share this wonderful soul with the world. This for a very, very long time. Hello, Fran. Welcome.
Hello, my darling.
Welcome, my
I was
friend.
close to tears there. I was quite close to tears because I thought, if this dear heart keeps talking, I'm just going to be like, oh, because I'm a bit of a crier, but not to worry. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
It is my humble pleasure, Fran. As I was saying to the listeners, when I used to have the open mics, I used to love reading your pieces because they come from the heart, from the soul. They touch the raw parts of humanity that we only touch in the silence of our minds, and your work does that.
Beautiful out there.
It is my humble pleasure to feature you on this show. I am so disappointed it's taken me so long. And there's a lot of people that believe in you. Amy's just come in the room. I know she thinks it's work. So you are very loved, Fran.
Oh, thank you.
To begin with,
Yeah.
if you could just indulge me, I
Anything?
would love to read that piece your most recent piece that you shared with me, or otherwise I'm happy for you to read it.
No, you go on.
If I may, I love this piece
Absolutely,
so much.
darling.
It really is, and I don't think there was a title, but
No, there wasn't. There wasn't. Love, no.
to the people out there, this is very typical of this wonderful lady's work. Once had a gentle heart, but life broke it in so many pieces, it crumbled to dust and withered away. This world has no place for gentility, only ruthless cuts and savage wounds. I in turn weave my own blood-stained tale of woe. With a quill that dances merrily, to the macabre I breathe the lonely and cry all my broken away. I wonder if they hear me crying, praying for a respite that never blooms. I lost my smile to the dark moon. The stars are always cold with bright indifference, and I am still suffering. My pain is vast, deep like an ocean made of chaos and drowning bells, spilled tears that never make it to shore. I perpetually swim against sly currents. The voices below scream of sad surrender. I can never be one of them. That touched me when I heard that piece, Fran, when I read that piece. And thank you for sharing your, DMing me your work too, because sometimes I do miss them on the feed. That piece, that piece is Fran Donnelly all over. Right?
That's good. Definitely. Definitely.
That's that. It's so relatable. We've
You know, yeah, I think if you like what you've done, you know, and not everybody does that or has the capacity. I think that you have, you know, in your heart that way, to really like dive in and absorb it almost and like feel and relate right away. That's obviously how it touches people, and it's got you there as well. So it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
we have all we all have a history of skeletons in the closet that cause
Mm-hmm.
us, we bury them. But when a person reads a piece like that, to me, what it says is you're not alone. There's others that are going through this.
Yeah.
And collectively, if we can support each other through this, through our healing journey,
Yeah.
life would be a much better place, right?
It would, yeah, it would if people would just kind of like cast all the bullshit off and just be like, well, do you know what? Everybody's on the same boat, you know, more or less, or metaphorically, whatever way you want to put it. But it's exactly what you said. A lot of people have got their stuff buried, you know, and some people aren't at that stage where they can dig it up yet. Personally, myself, I just, blah, you know, what I say to you, the noise just comes out and it takes the tiniest bit of weight off each time you unload. So,
Yeah. And that is the beauty of your work, the pure rawness, the
mhm.
unfiltered echoes of your heart, your soul. That's what
thank,
makes your work so beautiful, Fran.
thank you so much. I'm like, I don't
But
want to come.
we're diving. I cannot help but dive straight into your work. But look, let's backtrack a bit.
Yep.
Um,
Anything else?
reading your bio, I was quite fascinated by your early childhood.
Yes.
Tell us about that and how that led to your writing.
About the times with my grandpa, like growing up kind of thing.
Yes.
Well, from a small child up, right? Okay. So, my roots are obviously Scottish, but of Irish blood, like very pure Irish blood. And you know, like my grandfather and his brothers and stuff would often take me. I'd been travellers themselves. Would take me. We've got a lot of obviously Scotland and everywhere, but a lot of great open spaces where I am. And you know, there'd be the bonfires and the fiddles around the fire, and there would be like the wee wagons and stuff, and just it was absolutely fabulous. It was such a comfort that I've clung to that those times throughout my whole adulthood. You know, to just zone into that. You know, your happy place. People say, you know, describe your happy place. For me, amongst obviously other things, but the childhood aspect of it, because it wasn't a nice childhood, that would be my safety blanket, if you will. I would recede back in there, you know, because my grandpa just took me absolutely everywhere, told me all the stories, you know, had me in the caravan, and it was like very typical cliche what you would think with the fringes and, you know, that this kind of scent of like this kind of incense type smell. And you know the kind of velvet and stuff, and it was all very ooh, but I just absolutely loved it. And my grandmother also, she could read tea leaves and stuff. I've got a bit
Mm.
something else fascinating, but I'll leave that just now. But I was taught how to do that very, very young. Um, and there's a lot of other different kind of fables and different kind of myths and stuff like this, and you hear all the stories and what have you. But it was just absolutely fantastic. The kind of the abandon, which you know you felt. I'd always remember this being like a little girl, I just felt completely happy, and it was joyful, you know. And like I say, like through adulthood and stuff, that would always be my place of childhood where I would recede back into, and you know, to make myself feel slight comfort or what have you, because as I say, my childhood, like all in, like a lot of so many people, you know, half the world or three-quarters of the world population, it wasn't a good childhood, and I didn't feel very loved. So it was, I felt really kind of lonely and isolated as a child, apart from when I was with.
Was that loneliness because you spend more time with your grandparents and not with your main nuclear family, with your mum, dad, and siblings?
I think the loneliness stemmed from I just didn't feel loved. You know, there was a lot of domestic violence in the house. Like I grew up witnessing and stuff. I was always kind of like, you know, like your kind of average street rat, if you will. I can laugh obviously about it. I don't really take that stuff. I know it's not quite funny, but that's my sense of humour. But yeah, I was left a lot to my own devices as a kid. Um, like just kind of going out and make my own fun and stuff. Like really, really small, like maybe 8 or 9. And I remember I was told quite a lot not to come back until it was dark, which
Mm.
in retrospect now is probably quite dangerous, especially. But that's where I got into reading as well. Like the first book I ever read, I remember I'd learned to read was Black Beauty, and then it was The
Mm.
Secret Garden, and on we went. And like I'd obviously told you, um, I'd learned to read when I was like relatively young, you know, like your Roald Dahl and what have you. But I think it was maybe about 11 or 12. I'd read like kind of most of the classics, like that kind of genre, and I was very, very kind of quick to want to write stories and things like that. So the negative of that took a positive side on for me, because that was where I could go and escape to my other happy place, like, you know, in the Secret Garden and the Black Beauty and all these friends, and even Oliver Twist. I love Charles Dickens. So all of this, it had like a ripple effect, if that makes sense. Like one bad thing led on to other good things that surrounded the bad in the middle. So
Mm.
yeah,
And that led you to your writing.
it sure did. When I got into high school, I had a fabulous teacher, Mr. Johnson, and God love him, this guy. So I was like the second coming. He really did, because I'd done really well, like in school academically. The languages, but English was always my passion. And I remember, I think it was roughly one of the first poems I'd read. Yeah, it was Edgar Allan Poe's Alone, and I just read this and I was like, what? It's like I could have something wrote this kind of thing, because I just straight away it just grabbed at me, and I was like, oh my god! And time went on, and I started reading more, finding new poetry, and it was just a love, you know, for wanting to write, and you know, just really been fascinated and spending hours devouring different and you know, finding out, and I loved it. I loved it so much. So.
Mm. The the universe always amazes me how it puts people in the right environment to bring out what needs to be brought out.
But,
And through that solitude, I can see a young soul being drawn to literature,
mhm.
to help her own, to fill that
It did.
space that was uh, where that nurturing was missing,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and nurture in another avenue, and then that brought out an aspect of you
It did.
that to me
It did.
shows strength and development in that solitude.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have so much to share in your words that
Absolutely.
yeah. And it's funny how times might have changed, but today kids are left in isolation a lot
Yeah.
through the social pressures, like globally. uh, Both parents of a nuclear family are forced to work long hours to stay afloat. So kids are
Yeah.
left alone in care for different reasons. To you were,
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that loneliness doesn't change, right? That
It
grown
doesn't,
up in
you know, the
isolation.
town, but in the circumstances, but it always recedes back to the same thing. It's right here. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
circumstances or time or ages or anything. You are where we are, and they are where they are now. So you're absolutely right. That's a wonderful way of looking on it because I didn't actually think on it that way. But
The this is you really reinstate a reason why I do this show so much because from hearing your story, there'll be many out there who will be drawn when the time is right to watch this, hear your words and gain strength from it and
yeah,
inspiration. And, the so after that into adulthood, you continued your writing. You were in short stories for a while there, and then you got into poetry because you found the healing that came from expressing your pain, your inner voice.
yeah. Because I always thought, like, I never ever wrote any poetry per se. I would try snippets, but I used to think, why would I sully something so beautiful when it's going to be, I'm going to just write, bleh, dreary, dark, and like not getting it together yet. Well, actually, you can express yourself that way, and you know what? It's not going to be for everyone, but that's not to say it's unhealthy. Actually, it's healthier, I feel, to get that out as opposed to because I've came full circle with everything, so I can only say from my point of view. But for me, yes, I've done short stories. I loved it. It was all like kind of dark. I was very gothic, type Bram Stoker and Stephen King, and just the horror kind of genre. I was fascinated with it, but I loved the beauty of it. No, the kind of but the kind of beauty. I just loved that. So I used to do like kind of short ones here and there, and like through adulthood as well. I would do kind of sporadically, at times, because my mind really wasn't good and what have you, but I always came back to it. And then about 4.5 years ago, and it was random, really. It was so random. I came online. I'd actually just made an Instagram account for the first time. And you think how long everybody's been anyway. And uh, this is like a hand of God thing. I stumbled into a room where my good dear friend Chad brushed up earth with. And then from there on, here we are. I've learned and I've grown, I've kind of dabbled in it and I've come back to like, I understand why it could be upsetting people. I mean, I think that's a bit strong, but I do understand. I'm not like inconsiderate. But for me, you know, it's it's cathartic release. It really, really is. And it keeps me actually sane. And like I said to you, each time I write something, it's like this small, this piece of weight is just lifted off. And for me, that's the main thing.
Yep. The I started writing just purely for my to get my own thoughts in focus, but and for my own healing journey and
Yeah,
to get direction. But in doing that, because there's so similar stories in everyone's life,
yeah.
they resonate with the echoes of your words. Do you still dabble in short stories?
Um, I did up until I would say maybe about 5 years ago. I wrote a couple of really shit things. I think probably from then, but I didn't. I didn't. No, I know. I didn't. I didn't really kind of continue with it because I don't really see myself as like a writer. I think I'm just someone that scribbles and kind of gets my feeling that way. Um, that's kind of my therapy, if you will. I don't really see myself though that way. Um, but it definitely. I mean, I think me saying so and a lot of other people, at times it actually has like literally saved my life. Like being able to been able to express these things because I really don't know what I would have done if I hadn't found this beautiful and creative kind of release that, is wonderful. And like people like yourself and a select few other people that, for years have supported me in their love and it's overwhelming. It really, I can't believe it. It's better than I ever knew or thought I would have deserved in life. It really is.
Fran, if I had a magic wand, Fran, the first thing I would do was make you believe in yourself and don't understate yourself. Some of the some of the beauty that I've had in my life has come from simplicity, not from the
Yeah,
grandeur, not from the glorious, not from the high and mighty, from
absolutely.
people who did not know where their next meal came from people who had no education,
Yeah,
from simple people. That's some of
absolutely.
my best memories I've had. So if I had a wand, the first thing I would do is wave it over you and make you not underestimate the power of your words, the power of who you are. There is much strength in simplicity. And
There is,
you, my
Billy.
friend, are an amazing soul. The very fact that you're in touch with the raw end of life and you haven't forgotten. Obviously, the child, Francesca, grew up through adulthood and now you're blessed with grandkids and so forth. But you are still very much in touch with that child of many.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes, personally, it frightens me how much I am actually still that wee girl, and just all the different feelings and things that happened. And do you know what? It's as if I'm looking, through double-sided glass at this wee girl and I'm down to say, like, don't worry, it'll be okay.
Mm,
Just buckle down. You can get through stuff that you could never imagine that you can survive, but you will. And that makes me, you
mm.
know, emotional as well.
And this is where your children and now your grandchildren even are so blessed to have.
Well, it's just my 19-year-old son so far, but I mean, he's a bit of a hit with the ladies, so we'll wait and see how that transpires. But yeah, it's just my son, and but he's very supportive of me, and like, he's really glad I've got such like a good outlet, and and he's always saying to me as well, I'm glad you've got this, mum, and um, you've got a good support network, and what his words like, people are really nice to you, and I'm like, you've got no idea how pure and nice certain people are. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful, and you're wonderful. So
I'd love for you to, I'll offline, I will share with you my email. I would love to read some of your short stories. Um, I think that it'd
only,
be nice.
only for you, only for you.
That'd be lovely. I'd be blessed and honored to have the pleasure to be able to read some of those. Uh,
Absolutely, darling.
yeah, to see how the other side of Fran's mind works.
Yeah,
Um,
the other side. Yep.
would you like to share some of your work in the poetry space
Yeah.
with our?
Right. I know I was supposed to kind of bookmark ones, but I thought I would just do it random, like. But so let's see, and then you can ask me if anything after I read it, what kind of comes
Fran,
from that.
as I've
There is
said to
method in my
all,
madness.
as I've said to all my guests, this show is, I'm just the vessel that facilitates the medium. This is all about featuring what the featured guest wants to show the world of themselves. So
Yeah,
it is your look, Robert Cosy author has just come into the room as well. There's a person that I respect a lot in this
me
community.
too. I love
And
Robert.
this
Robert's
is
fantastic.
and this is how much you are valued, like there's Amy, Tom, Robert, all these people have come in the room because you really are cherished by a lot of and the people of value in this community, the people who really understand your rawness, so Fran, floor's all
Thank you
yours.
so much, and thank you for everyone who's come in. It's very appreciated. Okay, so I'm just going to select a random and we'll go from there. Is that okay? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Glasses need to come on. This is when I show my real old lady age because the glasses have got to come down for the reading. Okay. This tablet's just going to take a wee minute. Do you know, it wouldn't be me if things didn't go like kind of a bit off kilter. That's the story of my life, like seriously. So let's go on to me. Okay. Right, we're cooking with gas. We're almost there. Oh God. Let's see. No. Sorry, this seems to be frozen. I'm saying like it wouldn't be. Oh, hold on. It wouldn't be me typically. I'm one of these people as well. Like probably everyone thinks the same way, but it's like if anything can go wrong, it shall go wrong. Like regardless whether it's small, big. Like sometimes I'm sitting as well, Rainier, and I'm like, I actually couldn't make this up if I tried to because it's so out there and random. Oh, here we go. Finally, right. Okay. Right. I'll start with the ones I've got pinned, because I do love these wee ones. And I don't usually say this, but I'm actually, the three I've got pinned at the top. I don't know if you're supposed to say this, but I'm actually really proud of those ones, because I look back and I'm like, that's not too bad. Where did I get the brain fuel for this one? Anyway, I'm going to read it. So this one is short, but it's called Journeys Revisited. Okay. Recurring drowning daydreams stoke the flames of life's absurdity, lying in the soft earth, trying to earn a dreamless rest, committing sacrilege by suicide with blameless hands, reliving the same lonely death. Prevalent wickedness, breathe in full light's milk mist, a darkened silhouette, trying to mould the twilight hours inside a glass of charcoal sands.
You you can say so much in such few words.
You always say that to me, and it's such a massive compliment because I really don't realise that, but you've said that to me like a lot, so thank you for that.
Amy just captured the very essence of your words in a comment. She said, the way Fran alchemizes her deep pain into poetry, she has helped me so much to
Oh God.
feel the things I can't say on my own. So grateful for her. And Fran, this is why I do this show, because there's people in corners of the world that have no one, that don't have the access to mediums to heal
Absolutely,
that
they don't.
us have in the Western world. And if they stumble upon these shows and listen to some of these conversations
Yeah.
and can provide them that trigger to get their own thoughts to give them the strength. Now, coming from Amy
Oh,
is should
that
means a
girl.
lot what you
I love
do.
that girl so much, and I admire her so much, and she's so inspiring, and she's just wonderful. She's a wonderful friend. Her and I are super close, and I just adore her. And coming from a beautiful girl like that with that talent is just absolutely unreal. So I love you, Amy. Thank you so much. So nice.
As I said, if I had a wand, the first thing I would do was to get you to believe, get you to
Yeah,
see others seeing you. Because you don't need verses and verses of eloquent rhyme and big
yep.
words. Simplicity
Simple
says,
stuff. Simplicity, darling. It speaks volumes, eh?
"Mm,
Definitely,
yep,
it does.
yep, yep." What else would you like to show the world of Fran Donnelly who hides
Oh
in the
dear.
corner of what's Scotland?
Yes. Hiding away in my wee cauldron somewhere out there. Let me see. Not literal cauldron, but anyway. Okay, this one as well. I rather like this one. Again, with this, I'm not really too sure where this came from, but we'll go with it. This one's called Reese. This hollow place of ash and bone is where the monsters live. drowning us in vanity and the scarlet wonderland. Before wild flowers came and stayed, whisper where the dead can't hear. In visceral war we lost our eyes, a low-born beast was made, building a bastard's empire with crooked peasant hands, strangling the bloodline of fragile minds and hearts. We tempted the ledge of cold relief in late-night crying games. We dance upon the knife's sweet cut. Decline is all that's left. That's not depressing, is it? I mean, I'm reading it there and I'm like, oh God, no.
As I
If you
was
want to
saying,
get, if you want to get into it, wicked, I'm your gal for that, so unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say, yeah, that's me.
Fran, I can't tell you how refreshing it is to hear raw truth, raw honesty. And Robert's echoed those words in his comments. All you need is honesty.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it. And I think as well, I mean, we've all seen it in terms of, it's a shame because there are so many I've met so many wonderful, wonderful people on this platform. And like
Yeah,
yourself and everybody else, I've unfortunately crossed paths with a lot of really lousy people, right? But such is the way of life. That would be life in any walk or shape. But anyway, but to get to what I was saying, think, people write how they write. I'm not a writer. I'm not in anywhere leagues with anybody. But for me, I wouldn't try to be, or I couldn't be. Sorry, that's backward. If I tried to be unauthentic in myself, because it's just no, it wouldn't. I would just be like, "What are you trying to do?" kind of thing. I can write out a nice one if the mood so takes me, and believe it or not, it has been known. But for the most part, I'm saying I don't really know why anybody follows me because they're probably like that lady's like super depressing and stuff. But if you take the time to read it, then that's that means the world to me. But again, it's a thing of two halves. I write this knowing that it's not going to sit well with folk, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like fuck it because that's who I am. So I can't really, bend and be like, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. This is unfortunately what churns out. But I wouldn't change it, to be honest. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't change it. So
I hope you never change. I hope you
no,
never.
darling, I don't think I will. I don't think I will, darling. But thank you for saying that. To be loved for who you are is a great feat, and it's a big deal for me. So that's fantastic. Thank you, love.
Friend, like I'm one of those people that'll travel 1,000 miles just to hear somebody say one word or two
Yeah,
words. You give me a reason to come to Scotland and visit Shanae and yourself, and to hear
wouldn't that
your.
be a treat? Like, oh my goodness.
I mean, have a coffee and just chat.
Just
I
didn't
love.
put the shit and put the world to right.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
The I love simplicity. I love authenticity.
Me
That's what
too.
drives.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the besides Instagram, where else can people access your writing?
Just Instagram. Just
Just
Instagram. Yes, darling.
the to publish your work or anything?
No, I mean,
Yes.
no, darling. It's just like a hobby for me. And do you know something? The people that do write and get published and stuff, these people are super fucking like up there crazy good. I'm not like anywhere near that kind of thing. So I've never really kind of thought ahead to, or maybe I could, because I'm like kind of, as you know, I'm a realist and I'm like, that would never happen. So it's not something I've actively thought about. I just like kind of seeing all these fabulous people and drinking in their words and their wisdom and just, you know,
Mm.
that really does it for me.
How do I? How does anyone? How does anybody help you to see the value that you bring?
Oh, I don't know. This is a bad lifetime habit, unfortunately. It's just kind of like, you know, and the people that do care for you, and yourself included. I know in that tiny recess, I should maybe be taking in what people's telling me, but the other kind of, the devil on the other side, like, no, 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 and I'm like, right, okay, and then I go with a slide to that way, so. But I mean, I don't even know what I would do in terms of like even starting to get published. I mean, that's like super. I would have to be. I don't know.
And nowadays, you don't even, there's so much stuff that, well, I know Danny White, for example, he helps a lot of people put together their books and publish them, self-publish their work. That
Is
wasn't
that
a thing.
the English, Daddy? Isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. Then I know Prada helps Prada from, I think she's in New Mexico area.
Hmm.
I know she was running a publishing sort of service where to help people to
Uh-huh.
self-publish, and the costs are, you know, they help you to do it yourself
Yeah.
even and walk through it. Um, because I really think there's a place, there's a need for your
Yeah.
work to help many others who don't accept. There's many in the world who, through tragedy or trauma, or for whatever reason, are growing up without parents on their own and trying to find their way through life.
Yeah.
And those people don't have minimal access to things. And there's a lot of people in the world, sometimes all they need is the words of somebody like yourself to
Gosh.
elevate their lives where they are in their
Mm.
belief in themselves.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Well, what I'm trying to say.
at least tell me that you have your work saved somewhere where if you don't see the value and get that out there, that maybe, who knows, one day your son or your grandchild might even do it, because I think
Yeah.
your words need to go beyond a momentary showing on Instagram.
That's. Thank you. That's
Oh,
a beautiful thing to say. I'm super appreciative.
oh, you know me, I couldn't lie to save my
I
own
know,
life.
darling. I know. You couldn't anyway, even if you tried. That's just not you at all. It's just no.
So,
You like me, you just
so,
kind of call it as you see it. So that's that.
so when
Absolutely.
say that from the honesty of my heart, because I
I know, darling.
believe in
Well,
it.
I'm super. I'm over the moon that you've said that. You're such a gorgeous soul of a person. It still takes me back sometimes. Um, but maybe I could think along the lines of, you know, maybe expanding things out there, or maybe start working on something else. Um, because usually, I mean, I don't really need uh, things that take time. For me, that kind of falls into a different category because that's like a lot of work goes in, a lot of work goes in. I can sometimes like maybe kind of pop off an idea, or like it's just like one thought or stream I've had, and the next thing I've got something within about 10 minutes, and I'm like, holy fuck, how did that happen? But it's just out there, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, aye, that's me, definitely. So
Mm.
perhaps maybe I could be able to produce something. I don't know, but just to quickly touch on, because I know I'm rambling. What you said, like thinking if this even helps like one person or someone can relate to it and feel slightly better. Like I got a lovely message this morning from one of my friends in England, and she sent me like, I've just read that and it's just made me feel less like shit. And that totally made me light up. And I was like, I cannot believe. So to hear that again reiterated and stuff, like that somebody can relate to that, whether it's man, woman, boy, child, whoever, whatever, and it helps you then. Fuck, that's an achievement in itself, it really is. It's a big deal. Mhm.
There'll be many who'll be more than happy to help you in. I'll certainly speak for myself. I'll be happy to help in any simple way I can, and I know there's Danny, there's many people who can help to get the Robert. I'm sure Robert, another as I said, I respect him greatly, and I'm sure
Oh,
people.
fabulous. See, quickly touching on him, I mean, when you know yourself, obviously, with reading his work and stuff, Robert's just, uh, his imagery and the descriptive stuff is just insane, like how fantastic it is, and how you can see that, that saying that people always say if it's a really fantastic writer, you can be there. Like some of the stuff he's wrote, I've been there and I've like smelled the things that he's written, he's describing and saying the exact sites for what they are, and and it's just out of this world fantastic. You're reading it, you're just like, every time you finish them, you're like, holy, this guy is just out there, amazing. So,
We've, we've got to get the amazing Fran out there as well.
oh, darling.
We have. The world
Yeah,
needs it. People need it.
the world needs me. That would be But I know exactly what you're meaning though. Like it's if it's going to make a difference, and like I said, if it's even like whatever you are, whatever age, gender, none of that shit matters to me. But thinking if it could help someone cope through the day, or like you said, I grew up the same way, and I'm not alone. Or I'm having all these kind of maybe thoughts that I shouldn't have, or whatever. I'm not alone. Anything at all that touches on, I'm saying what a feeling accomplishment that would be within itself to just help, you know.
Mm. The way I live my life, I firmly the way believe or take life. The pain of me walking through the fire, I would like many besides me to enjoy the rewards, the growth, the learning from my experience, and similarly, I gain the rewards of supporting somebody else walking through the fire in their
Darling.
life.
hmm that's amazing that you've touched on that, because I was actually going to ramble into that next. See, for the longest time, like, and you'll know yourself, like when you're in the thick of it, as I like to call it, like I say that when I'm in the dark place, right, like the really doldrums and stuff. Um, but what I've kind of realised, and it's took me in the better part of my 30s and my early 40s to really figure this out. I don't think I could live without my own pain, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but I really couldn't be without it because it's such a big part of who I am. And I've had to, like, that descriptive you've put out there, like, I've walked through so many fires, the same as everyone else, and you'll relate here. But when you come out the other side, it's like what I mentioned at the beginning. Like, fuck, I'm sorry for swearing. I'm trying not to swear, I'm trying to be polite. Like, you can survive the unthinkable. You really can. And on top of surviving it, you get this sense of strength and bravery where you're like, anything that comes at me, I couldn't give a but because it's not going to destroy me. If I'm not destroyed completely before now, I'm never going to be. So that pain motivates you in a sense as well to like survive mode. No, I'll be fine. Weather the storm, and just keep going, and then I'll be okay again. And sure as God, so sorry, that was a big spieler. I didn't mean to go in depth. It's a bit deep, wasn't it? Sorry.
So, Fran, I say this
Mhm.
to you: a diamond is forged through pressure and fire
Yes.
from that hunk of coal that we
Mhm.
just looked, and this diamond is is born from that
Yep.
and fire. Similarly, beautiful souls that we've had the pleasure of knowing in this world. There's a
Yeah.
long list of people,
There is.
man,
There is indeed.
the
Mhm.
tourists, all that. The beauty of what we saw was the reward of the pain they experienced in their
Yep.
life. Look at
Mhm.
Mandela, in exile, locked up for so many years.
Mhm.
For what? For speaking his mind?
Exactly. This is the thing, and again, it's like that. This whole thing it comes back to. like everything that's going on in the world, and it's so terrible. And I feel as if all these awful things just keep happening, and they're prolonged, like what you're saying. And it's you think all the atrocities that's happened in the past as well, and you're like, why is humanity still in this day and age? So
Mm.
what's the word? I don't know if there's words. It's just so it's tragic, and it's still disgusting, and it's repugnant, and like people, where is the compassion and humanity? Like, where did this humanity go? Where it's all kind of just violence and shit, and just it's horrible. It really is, and it just keeps going. And it's like what you're saying. It's like we get so involved in our personal stuff, and I'm the worst for it. I get so embroiled in my own personal battles. Sometimes I don't really notice too much when outside because I'm so trying to get myself out of this. Where I feel I could probably be a bit. I mean, I consider myself a compassionate person, but I could probably spread that a bit. Let's be honest, instead of just kind of like, oh, I need. It's as there's so many things, and it's yeah. Sorry, I'm going to be quiet now because I'm ranting again.
That's a subject that I could get into all day long. You know,
Existentialism is my jam, so perhaps we could. But it
in
is, if you examine all these kind of different aspects, you could literally talk for days on certain subject matters because it's a fascination as well, and this kind of thirst to learn everything you can, see people's points of view, and how their mind works, basically. Mm.
mm, like in so many ways, mankind or humanity has advanced so much in terms of technology and all, say 200 years ago or 200 years ago, but in other ways we've stagnated so much. There's people still there's still people still have wars for the same reasons, right? For their greed, for land, for conquering,
Agreed.
for
Yep, exactly.
overpower. There's still children abused. There's still the feminine gender abused and killed and raped. Same shit that was happening 200 years ago.
Absolutely.
Where have we grown in that true sense? Yeah, we
Exactly.
sure out of the moon. Sure, we got these fancy phones and computers and all this tech that we can just, press a button and have food delivered. Blah blah blah. All this sort of shit. Yes, great.
It's absolute shit. I'm not really a fan of the onward technology. I kind of reluctantly know I've got to kind of roll with it, but I'm an old school person, right? But like
Me.
to touch on, oh, absolutely. I'm like this, but to touch on what you're saying, if anything, I feel like times have get more fucking barbaric. The more modern times get, and you would think people would be more forward thinking, the more fucking barbaric shit seems to be constantly, and that's that's quite frightening in a sense because you're like, should everybody not really be moving
Mm,
forward? But it seems to be this decline, and it's worse. But I don't know. It's really bad.
mm. And even on a global level, all this sort of pedophilia and all that's just getting
Oh,
rampant.
right. It's. I mean, it's. I'll just throw in a quick tip, but right. I'm obviously, as I told you, I'm from a small town called Port Glasgow, and it's on the west coast of Scotland. It's about like a 30-minute drive from Glasgow down coast. And my area where I'm in, it's called Inverclyde, like the bigger area, and that
Mm,
is actually the highest murder and drugs rate in the whole of Scotland. Worse than Glasgow, and Glasgow is like shady shitville. You don't go into places in Glasgow, but here it's like a different ball game. And again, there's murders all the time. There's like broad daylight kind of like okay corral shit, and it's crazy. And it's just the justice system that as well. It's just fucking what's
mm,
happened with that. I mean, I really do. I could go on about this as well because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It
mm,
seems to me the justice system they favours the criminal and makes the victims feel like shit about themselves and victimise them, and they want to put these on a. Do you know what I mean? And it's just I'm like, what the actual is going on with that?
I couldn't agree more. It
Hmm.
makes my blood boil. There's if you get them into incarceration, they are even protected in incarceration as
And
well.
they live like royalty inside as well. So,
Yeah.
but I mean,
The over here, when you get a rapist or a somebody charged with or found guilty through pedophilia or uh, child sexual abuse and so forth, when they go to prison, they're kept well away from the general public because most of the general public there have got wives and kids on the outside, and these people,
absolutely.
their lives will be ended within
Uh-huh.
weeks.
So these
So
bastards
they,
get segregated for their own safety then after
yeah,
what they've done. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Now there's a guest in the room, Maria no, Mayra. I don't know what her handle is or name. She says she's from Paisley. Is that
Uh-huh.
close to you?
Yes, yes, that's Paisley's like the next. If you're going on the train, Paisley's like the last stop before Glasgow, so that's closer again.
Oh, there you go. So you got
Well, well, I can't see, but hiya.
a fellow person from your locality who's
Yes,
joined the show.
darling. And you
Uh,
know, poems by Stephanie, she's in Glasgow as well, so she's like really close to me too.
Poems by Stephanie.
Yes, she's from Glasgow.
Right. Um, Mary. That's how names pronounced. Mary.
All right.
Thank you. Forgive my ignorance. Yeah, yeah. Shall we get into a bit more of your poetry? I'm sure people.
Darling, I'm just thinking. Right. Just go again. Uh, okay. Let's see. Right, let's see what we've got here. Race. Right, I really love this one. I shouldn't say that, but I really do like this one.
No,
This is a kind of mix up of me, but it's still dark, but it's slightly different. So this one's called Mexican Song. In Dahlia Fields, my dark heart ran wild. A barefoot maiden, cocaine, make believe. The cricket song chokes on guitar strings last note. This haunted place boasts lagoon harmony slopes. Tiny slice of heaven, inhaling golden brown calm. I think I found silence. El Matador grams. Nefarious grins and cheap-plated pistolas. Decision, revision. My switchblade fell open. Still on the dark side, but it's still, it's yeah.
I can see why you love that one, but I certainly do. Um,
When I
honestly,
went back, I was like, well, that's not too bad. Like, I kind of like where I've went with this, but at the time, I couldn't really remember how I'd got in the flow with that. But looking back on it, I was pleased. I was like, well, that's not too bad. Not too bad.
before you were understating your own work and you were giving kudos to so many other published authors and all that.
Yeah.
Fran, now I myself have got a couple of books out and working on my third. And here's something I will say to you. I I need to learn the art of saying so much in so few words, so lines. That's something I struggle to do. Mine ended up being like a biblical story, right? You can say so much in so little. Slight technical difficulty. What an amazing soul, folks. What an amazing soul. I mean, oh God. Honestly, how do we make her France believe in herself like everybody else does? Um, she's so understates herself. Yeah. So yeah, definitely that is a mission, Mary. I think we've got to make this lady believe in her work. Her work can just touch so many people. Let me see if I can pull you up, Fran. Okay, try this. Hey, how are you, Fran? Let's try this.
We're okay?
Beautiful, beautiful. I can hear you
Right.
loud.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
but
thank God.
there's a spinning wheel. I hope your internet's not going to drop off, but I can see a wheel
Me
spinning.
too. I will start crying really hard and screaming and stuff. No, it's good. I'm looking at the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi seems fine. I told you
Okay,
catastrophe.
let's get into some poetry. Yes, but your audio is good now.
I feel as if I'm like behind or something. I don't know what's happened with the audio.
There's a lag. I can see a spinning wheel. That means there's some
There is.
connection, and it could well be the connection between Australia and Scotland. I mean, who knows?
The
But
connection's working hard for sure. It's working hard. It's working its money this tonight.
let's
Right.
share some of your poetry and see how we go. Let's try and get some mileage out of this.
Okay, my darling. So, is there anything particular you would like, or do you want me to just crack on, miss?
Fran, there's not a piece of yours that I haven't enjoyed, so you got a full menu to choose from.
Thank you so much. All right, okay, I'll go on something. Yeah. So you read that last one beautifully. I'm going to read this one. Okay, this is typically me as well. Delirium. I exist in the in between light and darkness, heaven and hell, reality versus fantasy, somewhere between delirium and dream, between sorrow and laughter, longing for love. If only they told me that I was enough. Between madness and chaos, smiling through pain, between frostings of winter and crying again, between spring's pretty flowers and soft summer rain, between good and evil, stagnant, same, between me and others, safety and harm. If someone will save me, I can survive outside it and finally breathe. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All
I
right.
I exist in the middle between light and darkness. That's such truth. And what an opening line. Um, and it is
Yeah.
fun
I
and
want, I
dark.
want to say go in big, go big or go home. So I just went right in there. But that was like a fairly recent one, and I was kind of thinking, just again, as I do, the kind of the jumble that goes on in my head. And the thought came to me of being the in between, and I thought, well, that's how I feel a lot of the time. And then luckily, some stuff came out that I was able to scribble out. So,
Fran, as Tom just said, the power in that piece.
oh, thank you.
In, in each line, there's so much powerful sentiments stated. Amy, Tom, Mary, thank you for being here and supporting the show and supporting Fran and yeah, collectively we've just got to get this lady to see the value that she brings, and I myself get so touched by her pieces. Which unfortunate, she always tags me in her pieces, so it's just a pleasure. Otherwise, it's so easy to miss them. And Mary, nice to connect with you too. I don't believe our paths have crossed before, so pleasure to meet you, and thank you for coming on and supporting the show. Yeah. Oh, now I've even got video,
We have
which is
lift off. We have lift off.
yes, we have blast off. Let's go.
We
Let's
have lift off.
poetry, and your video is working this time too.
Are we good?
Yes, we're good. Seems
Oh,
better.
thank God. Thank God. Oh, that's terrible. I told you I've maybe cursed it beforehand because I said like the worst shit always happens for whatever reason, so not to worry. We're
Fran,
golden again.
two
Yes.
rules. And while you were gone, we made this unanimous decision. Number one, Fran's got to stop apologizing for
Yep.
things that are her fault. Number two, where it's our mission, we're going to get Fran to see her value like we do. All right, let's go.
Okay. Oh, God.
You're such a beautiful soul. You really are.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to think here. Did you? All right, okay. Right, this one is this is darker in a sense where this touches on or dances around the idea of the ideation and act of self-harm, but it's not like really brutal. It kind of dances around it, and you'll see afterwards. So I'm going to read it anyway. Okay, so this is not titled, so I'll just go on. Distant, distant, detached, but I was never anyone's someone. I belonged to the background of life. It went on without me, and everyone else went too. I began to think too much, cry too much, at midnights, over and over. I relived that darkness, and all I wanted was for everything to finally be over. I longed to bleed in silent peace. The blade came early, and it became the only friend I could ever truly rely on. A pain that weeps is a pain that bleeds, and I lived to die. Seams began to tear around me, and I inhaled copper ribbons in night time. Then, just beneath the surface, my relief was cold, then numb.
Fran, that line, and this is a line that I resonate with so much because uh, I had to come to terms with it myself. I was never anyone's someone.
Yep,
That line, like I live by myself. I'm single. I live by myself
yep,
as well. But yet I'm not lonely. I'm never alone. In
yeah,
fact, I got struggled to find time to be on my own.
me too.
And it took me a while to see the value of who I am and
Absolutely.
and
Yep,
and the benefit of being on my own.
yep. You reap rewards that you didn't actually know existed, but they really do
Yeah.
when you get in that place.
Because if I was in, say, my marriage of 20 years that I walked away from 8, 9 years ago, if I
Hmm.
was in that, I wouldn't be here today doing what I do
Exactly.
due to her own emotional insecurities.
Mm. Of
Uh, but it took me a while to realize that um, that all happened for a reason,
course, absolutely.
and to find contentment and comfort and confidence in
Absolutely. Yes.
my own. Nobody. Last night, my son and his partner came along, and I enjoyed the day. But today, I'm back on my own, and I'm happy
Like,
on
yeah,
my.
get the bang of it. I know. That's kind of how I am as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tom echoed that alone time has been a blessing. There you go. So Tom identifies with
It
that.
really
So
is. I think, it's a kind of, it's like also almost a prerequisite of like maybe anyone who's in a relationship or in a situation where, they're constantly having to kind of give of themselves, but they never take the time to give back to their own self. Does that make sense? Like people are
mm,
given, but you neglect your own kind of self-wellness because you're giving it too much. That's been the theme with me as well. I ended up adding nothing left in the tank because I kept doing that continually. And I just thought one day, fuck it, I'm really, and then I've got into the zone, and it's like what you're saying. I love being on my own. I just love it. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel fed up. I've also got a 4-month-old pup that I'm madly in love with, who's
yeah,
really boisterous and crazy, but he's gave me a lot of incentive to, you know, that kind of, I don't know how to describe it. he's gave me and given me a lot of joy in my life that I'd
Mm,
kind of forgot about for a while.
mm.
And I'm loving spending time just me and him, and it's great. But absolutely, everybody needs to cut out the bit. You don't have to be stuck to someone, no matter who it is, 24 hours a day. That's really unhealthy, I would say. But
Yes.
that's just me. So,
Well, if you look at the human journey, at birth, we're dependent. Well, when we're conceived, we're dependent on another host to carry us through to nurture us. Then we're born, and then we got this dependency on parents, and then we have dependency on our teachers as we go through our adolescence and our school,
yeah, it's like a
and then
ladder,
and then we meet a partner, and then we have a dependency on each other to coexist and so forth. And all along, what we don't get exposure is to value and see the value in the self, see the power of the self,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
then
And
suddenly find ourselves alone with no emotional commitments. I mean, both my parents are gone; they're up in heaven there, and suddenly I find myself alone, and
get your feet up, and you're like, oh well, what do I do with this now?
I had to learn how to fall in love with myself, and that was very hard for somebody like me who I put myself last. I was always there for other people who were in need,
I'm
and
the same. I'm the same. Yep.
that was a lesson I had to learn well in my senior years, right? So,
Me too. But it's like I think you don't really truly get that kind of atom of wisdom until you are that bit older.
mm,
Because it's like no disrespect to anyone, but like people like under 30, I couldn't really, in all good conscience, sit here and say to you that I would be comfortable conversing with someone that young because we just wouldn't have anything in common. And the way the kind of younger generation is now, this generation Z or whatever, I'm like, fucking, there's nothing relatable for me there, unfortunately. And I wouldn't waste their time apart from my own with trying to indulge in a conversation that neither of us would get anything from. So that sounds really bad and condescending. I don't mean it to be that way, but I'm just saying, in general, I wouldn't put myself in that situation because it's not going to benefit anybody. So
mm,
it's, yeah, because they don't have that wisdom yet. Mhm.
yeah, no, friend, and so even as you said, that piece was bordering around dancing around the fringes of self-harm, but again you bring reality in your lines.
Mhm.
As a fine, I was never anyone's someone,
Yeah.
and yet you are someone to so many of us, Fran.
Oh,
Every
thank you
person
so
in
much.
this room, every person in this room, and I know others who um, Caroline, she jumped on there. Robert, you mean so much. There's a young
Oh,
lass, Arlene, who's up in Kashmir area in the very north of India on the base of the Himalayas there. She jumped on as well. You touch
oh,
many people, Fran.
I still can't
And
believe it, but I will take your word because it's such a beautiful sentiment, and I'm so grateful to everybody that's stopped in and gave their time.
and remember, we're all on, like I'm 9 hours ahead of you. I'm 14 hours ahead
Darling.
Amy, for example. You're 5 hours ahead of Amy. So we're in,
Yeah.
um, uh, Aveline in India, she's about 5.5 hours behind me. So we're in a mix of times, but people
Yeah,
have
exactly. The time zones
so
but
much.
coming together. It's fantastic.
And this is how much you do mean. So while you wrote that line you were never anyone, someone, you are someone to many of us, Fran. You really, really are. And your work is second to none. As I said, if I was suddenly found myself in the circles of Harry Potter and scored a magic wand, I know what the first thing I would do. I've said it a few times in this show. So, Fran, we've got about another 25 minutes or so, so let's get out some of
Okay,
your
darling.
out there.
Okay. Mhm. Let's see. Uh, Okay. Instagram does not like me very much this evening.
I can hear you fine and your video's working, so let's.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just FYI as well, just to tell you, like, how maybe, I don't know, for want of a better word, like kind of a real person. I'm sitting here in my pajamas with my hair scrunched up because I thought, you see all these beautiful people coming on with their lipstick, and I'm like, fuck's got time for that kind of thing. I'm sitting here in my pajamas because I'm comfy doing that. So, and I know you'd be like, yay, you go, Fran. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, it is hard for you, Fran, so.
Let's see. All right, there was one actually. That I was going to put by for you. It's not far down because I get a bit mixed up. You see. Let me see. Right, hold on.
There you go. Mary's in her pajamas as well.
Good for
Keeping
you,
you.
Mary. A wholesome Friday night had by all. Uh, right, right. Hold on. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. Hold a second. There I had it. Mm, okay, I'll go with this one. Okay, right, here we go. Where do the broken go? But deep inside the void. In the end, I'm just alone, and everything is killing me slowly. Everywhere around me, poison breeds and flows. A shadow with no name, a beautiful man with no soul. They try to consume me. Still, I resist. All the pretty demons sing and bask in the torment that has become my home. My silence feeds their frenzied tongues. Nightshade whispers, licking flames. No one told me I could hurt like this. No one told me by a blade in my arm and a thorn in my heart, the bleeding never ends. Fear and regret gnawing at my throat. It's getting hard to breathe. Shattered angels cry for me, the girl that tried, but was cursed instead. But that was a bit heavy as well, sure it was. It was a bit, oh.
What was the second last line? The angels.
Hold on a wee second, darling. I'll just find out the other side. Um, Shattered angels cry for me, the girl that tried, but was cursed instead.
Everything is killing me slowly. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's true right from birth, right? Everything,
Right,
but we,
absolutely. We die a little bit every day, so to speak,
yeah,
if you want to go that way, which is true. Mm-hmm.
we, yes, we die a bit every day in a physical sense, but
Yes.
we grow a lot. We are born and we are growing strength from that inner being
Yeah,
every day.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You see, your pieces, the honest, uh, I could meditate to your pieces. I could reflect,
Oh,
self-reflect on the lines and ask myself the questions
mm-hmm.
stem from your lines that you write.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny, but I mean, I'm upfront. Well, I'm upfront. I'm honest about pretty much everything because that's how I've always kind of been from being small. Whether I've said things that I shouldn't have ever, I just tend to kind of because I don't believe in being another way. But anyway, like, for that as well, it's if I go back to certain things that I've scribbled down, and I'll be like, look, do you know, that's how I was feeling at that time. And sometimes you marvel at how you're able to articulate that to the point of how you felt it and what you thought, like precise. That's rewarding for me as well because I'm like, fuck, do you know, I mean, everything, as you know, I'm writing it's from personal experience. It's no like for the sake of being. I wish I could do like that kind of creative stuff from retrospect, but it's all from my perspective, my experience, ordeals I've been through, what I cope with, how I think, and I've just put it out there. And a lot of
That
people say to me, like, You're really
Don't
brave because
don't ever change. We value the Fran that we know.
thank you so much. That's lovely. Yep.
Would you like to roll into another piece?
Why not? Everybody better get their shin guards on. This is quite heavy for a Friday. I'm sorry in advance, but I can't be right. Let me see. I'll pick something else for you because actually that wasn't the one I was going to do. Right, I'll go right into another one. Okay. A haunter of ruins, guard terrible secrets, imprisoned by the past, strangled in a violent silence. Stolen hopes are torn apart, exquisite pain, an ache that never leaves. A heart a heart so heavy that beats with the rain. The light has left her eyes, burned out. She is merely ashes now, riding through the shadows, a broken spirit with no home. Once she was beautiful, vibrant, untamed. The girl that was is lost to me, and so badly I want her back.
You, how could you doubt your work? As Amy's put in the comments before, your words are transcendent. You know, they really are.
I think I'm just
The
so overwhelmed because this is magical, and I can't believe it's. But this is just like put me right up there, made me feel fantastic in so many different ways. So,
So tell me your triggers. What, like Fran's going about her day, what is the trigger
oh
that you, okay, I want to pick up a pen and put these words. Where do they just, you just get a, is it a spur of the moment inspiration or do you plan?
no,
Uh,
I'm a quite a spontaneous person, and I don't know if this is a bad thing to say. I don't really have much a trigger that make go in. I just tend to kind of, as I think, kind of churn out a lot of shit that's permeating through my hamster wheel that's in there, and I'm like, right, okay, and then all of a sudden I've got a couple of slides or maybe 10 or 12 lines, and I'm like, right, put that out.
mm,
And I love like everybody, like, again, with the same with poetry, writing books, all types of art and music, it's universal. And I love, pick, because I'm such an eclectic with music as well. And I love finding a cracking, and I'll probably spend more time, being honest with you, looking for a song that fits what I've put in than I do actually writing or putting thought in. This probably sounds terrible, but it's the truth. It's like I'll put more thought into that.
I don't know if you can see a lot of the comments there. Amy's
I
just
can't see anything.
recited one of the line and so, one of your lines on that piece, and so badly I want her back.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Thank you, Amy, so much, darling. Really.
when we're walking through the fire, there's so often we want that happy self that we once knew back, right? So
The
much.
innocence, I think, I miss the most. It's like innocence, but that was away from me, like so young, but it's something I still cling to. It's like what we said earlier. I'll always get back to that wee girl through her eyes and to tell her if I could through the double glass, like, you're going to grow up and life's shit and it's hard, but you will survive
Mm,
the storm, you know.
mm,
So
mm.
definitely.
I must mention too, Luzzie was very, very keen to get here, but as you know, she's going through her own problems, and she said,
Yeah.
hope she couldn't. And I promised I will tag her on this so she can watch the episode, because as I said, Luzzie, Amy, they were all just so excited when you were coming on the
Yeah.
show.
I had
Um,
tongue.
do you want to get
It's like
into?
what I say to you as well. It's like real overwhelming because when you and I have been talking and you'd asked me to come on, and I'm like, oh my god, like I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, will I not be boring? And you're like, no, you'll be as interesting as anybody else. And I'm like, fuck, really? I'm going to go on and, you know,
Fran,
I'm like,
we've
I
been
haven't done anything.
1.5 hours we've been going for, other than that
Yeah,
couple of minutes we lost in the glitch, and
yeah.
we haven't run out of things, and yeah, you certainly haven't failed to deliver on so much quality poetry and
Oh.
things that words that people can reflect on, words that people can find healing from, right? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
it's about. We
It
don't
is.
know. As you know, do share this besides the Instagram posts, which I will add you as a collaborator. I do share it
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube, and I do create a podcast on Spotify and so forth. You don't know who could listen to this at what time. And my belief is the people who need to hear the featured guest words get. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Amy. Thanks, Mary. Nice to connect with you. Unfortunately, I think Fran's having trouble coming back onto the live, so I cannot into the room, so I cannot bring her. Thank you, folks. As always, the audience, your comments do play a large part in the show. Fran, thank you very much for participating and featuring on the show. I know your nerves were getting the better of you leading up to it, but Fran, I really need you to, we need you to believe in yourself because you do bring a lot to people. And there'll be an unmentionable amount of people that you don't even know that you touch with your words. And you are much loved within this community. You're never alone. Yes, you might be alone in physically in your own life, in your own immediate space, but trust me, you are not loved by many. There's many of us that think the world of you, although we've never met. So you are never unloved. So thank you for coming on, and I'm sorry that we had so much. It was unfortunate that we had so much technical difficulties through the show, but I will slice and dice this video for the YouTube and the podcast. Unfortunately, in Instagram, it'll post the way it is, so there'll be some gaps in it, and I'm sorry that I couldn't say goodbye to you and thank you in person. But you're obviously having trouble reconnecting. So, Amy, Mary, Tom, and everybody, Robert, for coming through and supporting Fran. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, and thank you, Fran. Stay safe, enjoy the weekend.